This is Mrs. Kienholz, and today we are going to use our science book for our reading lesson. And we are still talking about cause and effect, but today we're going to look at types of energy, and we are going to see how cause and effect not only happens in stories that we're reading, but also just in science and things that are happening around us. So today we're looking at what are some kinds of energy. The try it that you'll see on page 310 of your science book has some really fun activities for you. Feel free to do those if that works out for you and you have those supplies available at home. Let's look at 311 though, cause and effect. A cause is what happens, or excuse me, a cause is what makes something happen. An effect is what happens. So we see the picture of the people playing a little game of baseball, and it says practice it. This boy is playing baseball. The boy swings the bat. The boy hits the ball. The ball goes far. Write the effect of the boy hitting the ball. So if the boy hits the ball, the effect would be the ball goes far. And that's what you would write on your line. The ball goes far. Now, just like any other online project that we're working on here, you can certainly work ahead, see if you can do this on your own, or if it's a little tricky, follow along with me. Turning the page to 312, 313, we see an explore it activity, and this would be a fun activity for you to try. Again, if you've got those supplies at home, it's not something that's required, but it just might be a fun way to explore light energy in particular. So lesson 1, what are some kinds of energy? On page 313, we see a fan, and we see the word energy, and I've highlighted the heading there in green. People use energy in many ways. Energy is the ability to do work or cause change. One kind of energy is electricity. Think about what happens when an air conditioner is turned on. The air conditioner uses electricity to cool your home. Electricity can warm your home too. A heater or a furnace can use electricity to warm your home. Look at the fan in the picture. The fan uses electricity. Tell how you use electricity in your home. So just think about that. Think about all of the different things that use electricity that you have to plug in. That's amazing. Just about every room in our house has something that we are plugging in. So we have electricity being used all around us. Page 314 talks about another type of energy, and this is heat. Heat is the movement of energy from warmer places and objects to cooler ones. People can use heat to cook their food. Look at the picture. Heat moves from the hot burner on the stove to the pot. The heat moves from the pot, the hot pot, to the cold food. So we have the flames. It says to draw arrows on the picture showing how heat moves. So we have flames, the heat from the stove, and if you have an electric stove, you have different types of heat being, it's going to look a little different. You would have a flat top with the electric coils or the electric kind of showing up through the glass. But the heat moves anyway from the stove to the pot, and then from the pot, it's going into the food. It goes through that metal and into the food, and then your food gets warm. Moving on, now we're talking about light energy. Light is another form of energy. Light comes from many sources. A lamp uses electricity to make light. A fire gives off light when it burns. Most light sources give off heat too. The sun is our main source of light. Light travels from the sun to the earth. People, animals, and plants need the sun's light to live. Underline the words that tell what light is. Well, at the very beginning it says light is, and it tells you light is another form of energy. So we've learned about several. Then it says to circle the sources of light in the picture. Again, go ahead and do that. The first one that I notice is the sun coming through the window. So the sun gives off a lot of light. Then I see the light fixtures. I also spy candles, And did you see that there's a fireplace down here? When that fireplace is on, there would be light being put out from that too. How light moves. Light moves in straight lines. Different things can happen when light hits an object. Light can pass through some objects, such as clear glass. Other objects let only some light pass through. Some objects block light. A shadow is made when something blocks light. Tell two ways light can behave when it hits different objects. Well, it tells us light when light hits an object, light can pass through, or only some light might pass through, and sometimes the light is blocked, so the light can behave in different ways. But let's look at this cause and effect question. Look at the picture. What causes the shadow of the table? Well, light hits the table blocks the light, and because it's blocked, we have a shadow. So what causes the shadow of the table? Light being blocked causes the shadow. Light being blocked. Now, I really like this picture because it gives us by these arrows, the arrow here, it says the curtain lets only some light through. The curtain is translucent. The table blocks the light. The table is an opaque object. And then up here, it says light can move through clear glass. The glass is a transparent object. So they gave you some really good examples there. Moving on to 317, light reflects. Light can reflect off of an object. Reflect means to bounce off. Light reflects well, or bounces off well, from smooth, shiny objects such as mirrors. The picture shows how a mirror reflects light. Again, we've got a cause and effect question. What happens to the light when it hits a mirror? So they're shining the flashlight down onto a mirror. And what happens? When it hits a mirror, it's going to bounce off or reflect. So you can write that in. Then it says to draw an X under the spot on the mirror that reflects the light. So right where that light is hitting the mirror, that's the spot. Then it bounces off. In the at-home lab that you see up at the top, we have another project that we could work on. Mirrors and light. Find a room with a mirror on the wall. Turn off all the lights. Wouldn't a bathroom be a great place for that? Shine a flashlight at the mirror. How does the direction of light change? Shine light on a wall. Does the mirror reflect light better than the wall? Explain why. So I noticed when I took a flashlight and shined it on the mirror in a dark, dark room, I would see that reflection maybe behind me or beside me, depending on the angle. I would see it bouncing off of the mirror and then onto the wall or maybe to a shower curtain. So see what happens. Give it a try.